Now, on his first official overseas trip as Prime Minister, Andy Burnham has been in Ukraine and promised to maintain support for Kyiv in the war with Russia. He condemned what he called the Kremlin's outrageous threats against Britain for backing Ukraine, saying it was Moscow which had started the fire of war. He also confirmed the UK would help Ukraine build its own supply of cruise missiles. Dan Johnson has sent us this report from Kyiv.
The title of Hero of Ukraine.
This is Ukraine's 5th Independence Day under Russian attack. 35 years since it broke free from the Soviet Union. The Prime Minister came to Kyiv to reiterate Britain's backing and to announce further support.
It is my first overseas visit, and I chose to do this, and I hope it tells you something about the importance that I attach to your cause.
In order to speed up.
He chaired the Coalition of the Willing, a meeting of more than 30 supportive nations. They heard Ukraine's president spell out his fears for the forthcoming winter and what he needs to protect his people.
Russia continues its attacks and ballistic missiles. Yesterday we spoke about it with details. Today we will continue, and so we need to make sure that the winter package of air defense will be in Ukraine, and we need winter package of Patriot missiles.
The Prime Minister's come to Kyiv with a message of Britain's unwavering support on Independence Day, but he's also making announcements that will give Ukraine greater self-sufficiency in fighting this war. The UK and France will share the blueprints for Storm Shadow or Scalp cruise missiles, so Ukraine can produce its own. Russia said Britain was pouring fuel on the fire.
We have been there from the start, providing that backup support, and this is technical support going with what we've been doing from the very start, and we'll continue to do that. Nothing will change that. Who started the fire? That's the question, isn't it? Ukraine did not do that. Russia began this illegal invasion, and that is absolutely clear, and they could stop it at any given time.
But Russia is still sending drones. This was Independence Day in Chernihiv, where 20 Ukrainians were hurt. That's why President Zelensky needs these meetings to produce more tangible results in terms of weapons, but also Ukraine's ability to increasingly arm itself. Dan Johnson, BBC News in Kyiv.
Steve's in Moscow for us now. Is the UK, Steve, now even more in the crosshairs of the Kremlin than it might have been before?
Well, Britain is certainly not flavour of the month here right now, that's true. You can tell that from what Russian officials have been saying, like Dmity Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, who said today that Britain is participating in this war on the side of Kyiv, that Britain is adding fuel to the fire of the conflict, that Britain is hatching schemes to prevent peace. This coming from Russia, of course, which launched the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This kind of language is repeated in the pro-Kremlin media. I had a sneak peek at one of tomorrow's Russian newspapers, which wrote that after this trip to Kyiv, Andy Burnham will not see Russia in his dreams. Instead, he should see Russia in his nightmares. Now, that's quite threatening language, but that chimes with the kind of warnings we heard from Russia last week, which said that the deeper Britain's involvement in this conflict, the higher the price Britain will pay. Now, what does that mean? What price? What consequences? What nightmares? There are no specifics from the Kremlin. But I think one thing is clear. Just when you think that UK-Russian relations can't get any worse, they get worse. And the last thing I'd say is this. Russia divides all countries in the world into two columns. Friendly countries and unfriendly countries. And right now, in the eyes of Moscow, Britain is right up there near the top of Russia's Premier League of hostile nations.